right? If you start to force the universe into making sense for you, instead of just standing at the shore and just looking at the horizon and the void and going anyway, because that is the true definition of the absurd, is to understand that the void offers you no answers and it's scary in there, and still go. What did Albert Camus mean when he ended his essay with the enigmatic line, "One must consider Sisyphus happy"? Yeah. I mean, if you've ever wondered why a philosopher would suggest happiness in the eternal drudgery of pushing a boulder uphill, you're in the right place. So grab your coffee, keep an open mind, and let's push this philosophical boulder up this hill together. Hey, hi there, guys. Welcome back. Warren here. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. And if you're returning, welcome back. But seriously, why would a philosopher attach happiness to such drudgery? And it's a good question, because incidentally enough, we do the same in life, real life. And it just had me thinking of really the meaning behind it. And by now you've seen all the episodes. I'm about fresh out of patience with seeing episodes about the topic go by in my feed. But I just want to take a different look at it and really ask, what did he mean by that? And why, in some respects, pisses some people off because they don't believe it. They think it goes too far. And I don't agree with those who think it goes too far, because it's ironic, actually, because a lot of people think his philosophy is, to use his own words, absurd. But it's not really. It's not, because other philosophers have tried to answer that burning question, right? What? And I'm going to get to the actual philosophy here shortly, but we've all been trying to find meaning and purpose and happiness in our lives. And some of us say we find it, and some of us do find it, and some never find it. And I think the ones that lean towards his philosophy being a little absurd are those that fit in the camp of never finding it. And I think that's a fair assumption on my part. But before we get too carried away, let's talk about who this Sisyphus character is. We all know by now that he's a Greek mythical king, or was, and he was super cunning. And because of his cunningness, he was condemned for trickery by the gods. And his punishment? Indeed, to push a boulder uphill for eternity. And every time it gets close to the top, it rolls back down. That is his punishment. And most would find that brutal, meaningless, and of course, a drudge. And it is, but we'll get to how to fix that. But I mean, just imagine that, right? Rolling a boulder uphill every day for the rest of your life. And every time it gets almost to the top, it rolls back down. And like I said in the beginning, and I don't mean to laugh and make light of it, but we can relate because how often we ask ourselves that question of, and I did another video about it, like, am I ever getting there? What is the answer to my question of when am I there? When have I made it? Right? And we've all asked that question. And his drudgery has resonated, the image anyway has resonated throughout the ages. And it symbolizes things like futile labor, endless effort, and just existential struggle. Let's just call a spade and say it. And I don't want to make it a dark episode because, again, most of the ones you've seen have probably been that way. But why did Camus pick up this myth to illustrate the idea of absurdity? I mean, why? And before we get to Sisyphus's happiness, we need to understand Camus' philosophy of the absurd, I think. And he saw the world pretty much as fundamentally indifferent to human concerns. What do I mean by that? Or what did he mean by that? I alluded to it earlier. I said it earlier that we seek meaning, purpose, and clarity, right? We do every day. In everything we do, we seek these things. But the universe offers none. Zero answers, right? Zero answers. And I say most of us can relate because we go through these things in life. We make these plans. We put all these things together to find meaning and purpose. And let me digress. Here's where, and I should have said this earlier, where and why I disagreed with those who say his philosophy is absurd. On the other hand, you have guys like Kierkegaard who took the Christian leap to finding meaning, right, through religion. And Camus agreed with that in principle. And then there is Sartre and others who went the other route, who just simply questioned why things were and applied meaning and rationality to them. The thing about those guys and Camus, the difference is that Camus thinks that if we work so hard in trying to change the environment to suit us, we're just in essence spinning our wheels and we're going to end up in the same place we started, which is no answers from the universe. Starting to make sense, right? If you start to force the universe into making sense for you, instead of just standing at the shore and just looking at the horizon and the void and going anyway, because that is the true definition of the absurd, is to understand that the void offers you no answers and it's scary in there, and still go, right? And we all do it every day, and we don't get a definition or the title Sisyphus, but we do it every day, right? We look into the void. That is life. And even though there's drudgery, and even though there is pain and suffering and disappointment, instead of asking the universe to change for us, we step into it anyway. And that doesn't mean that Sartre and Kierkegaard and other guys like them weren't onto something. They all are. It's just, I think that Camus was really onto something when he wrote his essay about Sisyphus. But I mean, like I said, why did he pick it up? Why did he pick it up? It's because somebody needed to say the hard truth, I think. Let's get to the whole myth of Sisyphus and why it's important and why that 1942 essay still resonates to this day. Camus didn't just look at Sisyphus's struggle, but he tried to figure out the human condition. He didn't look at the rock, the boulder. He looked at the man. This is where I think we struggle most as present day humans, and more importantly, real people. And that is this confrontation, right, between not getting answers and seeking answers. But I mean, let's just picture Sisyphus in talking about seeking answers and stepping forward in the void, even in the face of futility. Let's just picture Sisyphus at the foot of the mountain, sweat on his brow, the boulder looming above him or below him at this point. His eyes are open, for lack of a better term, right? He's fully aware of his fate. He's fully aware of his fate. He knows that he's got to push that rock back up the mountain and that it's going to roll back down. He knows that the cycle repeats itself. And most of us would imagine that moment, that exact moment of just straight, utter despair. Like, again? Really? Right? Not for Sisyphus and not for Camus, because he takes a completely bold and different vision altogether. He doesn't see Sisyphus as a victim at all. Because again, he's not looking at the boulder, he's looking at the man. He sees him standing, as he puts it, in profound defiance, right? You won't change for me. I ask you for changes. I seek clarity. I seek wisdom, and there is none. Okay? I accept, but I don't accept my punishment. I accept the honesty in the freedom to accept that punishment, if that makes any sense. And I think that's why it's resonated for so long, because that in itself is so powerful. He cannot escape his fate, right? We cannot escape our fate, the daily drudgery and grind, but we can confront them head on like Sisyphus did. And I think that's the power in that. And this is without illusions. And to go back to Kierkegaard and Sartre, that's what the difference in Camus and those guys were. Camus saw those leaps as going back to illusions. You have these illusions in your head of getting a solution, of finding answers, of religion coming to your rescue. There's no one coming, is what Camus wants us to understand. And it's true. There is no one coming. Tag, you're it. You have to figure this out on your own. And I think I've long gone over the 10-minute mark. Hey, guys, if you're still watching at this point, thanks for sticking around. I know your time is valuable, and it doesn't go unnoticed that you're sharing some with me. So appreciate it. But you can call it radical if you want. But for Camus, that defiance, that facing the void, even though you have no answers, is revolt. The constant confrontation between the human need for meaning and the universe's cold silence is revolting, according to Camus. And that is just stepping forward anyway, no matter what. Right? Okay. So, how can Sisyphus be happy? Well, Camus' answer is pretty simple and actually pretty radical too. And that's happiness comes not from the outcome, but from the struggle itself. Simple. Not from the outcome, but from the struggle itself, the journey, the processes we go through, the things we have to face every day, our boulders, having to pay the bills, deciding medication over food or vice versa, all of the really painful things that as a society we all go through. It is where we find our happiness, within the struggle. And I know it sounds really hard to grasp and weird, but our happiness truly is in that struggle, because we appreciate the times when there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. There is an answer for something. There is a little bit more in the account to take care of some of the bills that you're worried about. The point, though, is when we accept the absurdity of our lives, how should I put this? When we accept the absurdity of our lives, we put away, I think, the despair and the loss of hope. I was trying to find a really profound way to say that. But really, when we accept the absurdity of the task of life, we are liberated from seeking hope, or from being disappointed from seeking hope. It's the best way I think I can put it. But Sisyphus just simply had become present, something we often don't do as present day humans. He just became present, alive in each moment of his task, as daunting and as meaningless as it is, pushing and straining and striving. That is life. It really is. And Sisyphus and Camus are just reminding us pretty much to accept that. And it sounds harsh, like I said earlier, but maybe in my closing thoughts, it will make a little bit more sense in terms of just what it means to accept our fate. In saying that, here's what I'm going to leave you with and share with you. And it's simple. Spend more time enjoying what the universe does offer you, does throw your way, and then lean headfirst into the wind on the things that it doesn't. All right? And then you're like, really? That's all you have for me? Not really, because you should have had a follow-up question. What do you gain by doing that? And it's the most powerful answer and thing I can share with you. And that you will gain, you will recapture, you will reclaim some of your time. Some of your time from beating your head against the wall, asking and trying to answer these questions that in essence really often have no answers. It is just the universe being the universe, It is hard to accept, but we also have what the Stoics has left us with, the dichotomy of control, right? We only are in control of the things we can control, and then we accept the things we can't. And that leans into the religious side too, because that should have sounded really similar to some scriptures from the Bible. But it is. We have, as a society and as a species, by now understand that things that we can't control are simply that. They're just out of our control, and we should just stand on the beach, look at the horizon. Don't ask it to change. Don't ask it to shift its colors. Simply just let it be and step into it anyway. Okay? You do that, you regain, you reclaim so much of your precious time. And with that, and in saying time, the thing I know is precious to all of us, and you spending some of it with me, I appreciate it. With that said, be good out there, take care of yourselves, and until our next conversation, I've got a mountain to go climb and a boulder with my name on it. Thanks for stopping by. See ya.